messed up from the humidity, which makes it a little bit more crunchy. As you've probably already noticed, I did a little bit better on the setup today with the camera and the microphone, so hopefully, it sounds better, looks better. I apologize that you have to look at my face for this one, though, but for your courtesy, I did turn the lights off, so it's a little bit harder to see me, hopefully. I haven't reviewed the footage yet, but I turned my lights off because also they make a little bit of a buzzing sound, and I didn't actually realize that until I started doing ASMR and started noticing all of the little things that make noises in here. That being said, computer, set thermostat to 75.
The AC is set to 75.
Thank you, computer, for also whispering. Alright, so this Reader's Digest says, unlock your inner genius. But I'm not going to read like the whole magazine because that would take a while. But whenever I was younger, I used to have to get allergy shots because of my asthma, and I would go to the doctor's office from ages 8 to 18. So for 10 solid years, I would be in these doctor's offices and just reading whatever magazines they had available. So Reader's Digest was definitely one of them. I used to also really enjoy reading the Motor Trend magazines because I'm really into cars. I remember the most favorite year ever was 1992 because that was when Dodge came out with the Viper. Viper. But yeah, these Reader's Digests, man, they've got a lot of different content in them. They're very, diverse. One thing that I liked to look at the most, obviously, as a kid, was the Laughter's the Best Medicine section, which is jokes and stuff. And that's going to be on page 50. So, this one says, a man is standing on the curb, ready to cross the street. As he steps down and starts to cross, a car comes screaming around the corner and heads straight at him. The man picks up speed, but so does the car. The man turns back, but the car changes lanes and keeps coming at him. The man freezes with fear in the middle of the intersection. The car is inches away, then swerves and screeches to a halt. The driver rolls down the window. Behind the wheel is a squirrel. See, it yells. Not as easy as it looks, is it? I actually kind of wish that was a deer, not a squirrel, but that's a pretty good one. Okay, so this one says, so that's how you spell it. If GH is pronounced P as in hiccough, and if off, OUGH, is pronounced O as in dough, if ED is pronounced T as in mashed, if A is pronounced, EIGH, if EIGH is pronounced A as in neighbor, if TTE is pronounced T as in gazette, if EAU is pronounced O as in plateau, tomato, then potato could be spelled Ghoughtedeightgtea. Sorry, Eeau. Wow. I'll try to hold that up so you can see the spelling of that, but you probably, like the camera probably won't focus on it. Okay, anyway. Three patients go to a psychiatrist for an evaluation. The doctor asks, "What's 3 times 3?" The patient says, 236. The doctor notes this on his pad, then asks the second patient, "What is 3 times 3?" "Tuesday," he replies. "And you?" the doctor says to the third patient. "What is 3 times 3?" "9," he shouts. "Yes. How did you arrive at that answer?" "Easy. 236 divided by Tuesday equals 9. Oh, that's incredible. They're all crazy. The worst daily affirmations ever. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about yourself. That's your job. Not every day is precious. Wasted today. You deserve it. That's true. Try something that scares you, like doing the dishes, or returning a phone call, or leaving the house, or ... Today I'm putting myself first, if that's okay with you. Take a moment to be grateful for all that you have. Okay, now back to wishing everything was different. Oh, that's funny. This one says, "A few months ago, I went to the emergency room with a bad case of vertigo. Recently, I got the bill. I was shocked at my balance." Yeah, America. Alright, so let me see if there's more on the next page. I seem to be having trouble. 51, 52. Okay, there's not another page there, sorry. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here, a lot of stories. So what I want to do though is I'm going to focus back to the beginning, because in the what do you call that, like the index or whatever, it says, where did I see that? Or was it on the front page? No. A brain health breakthrough from New York Magazine. Okay, we'll come back to that, apparently. Let's see. There's these other, like, humor sections. It's got life in these United States. I think we should go to that one, especially with today's topic in the news, right? It's got humor in uniform. It's got all in a day's work. So let's go to life in these United States, page 18. But basically what I was going to talk about earlier was, my mother, she had brain cancer, and there was like a breakthrough about brain cancer in here. I wanted to check that out, so I'll come back to that. Driving across South Dakota, I brought along 2 trusted aides, a GPS to help me navigate, and an audio version of the Bible to keep me calm. Both did their jobs well, even though every once in a while the GPS interrupted the good book's narration. During one account of God leading the Israelites through the wilderness, this is what I heard. "And the Lord said to Moses, in 2 miles take exit I-10. Clearly, my 11-year-old son has been hanging around his teenage sisters too much. One recent morning, he announced, "I can't go to school today." "Why not?" I asked. "I've got cramps." I mean, he could have, like, actual, like, leg muscle cramps from PE or gym. So, I mean, still valid. There's something on the page there. Okay. 40% of my wife's and my conversations go like this. "Me, What? Her. I was talking to the dog. Okay. Overheard at an amusement park, a woman talking to her husband. I think I'm going to need another cup of coffee to comprehend what you just said. I mean, that's pretty normal conversation. I wouldn't say that's funny. I mean, we've all heard that. We all use that, right? We're not sure. We want to know the full story behind this headline spotted in the Bangor Daily News. Maine man gets first moose and bride to be the same day. I'm assuming he shot the moose, but yeah. When my husband experienced severe chest pains, I insisted we call 911. No ambulance, he said, through gritted teeth. Drive me to the hospital. What if something happens on the way? I said. I won't know what to do. Don't worry, he reassured me. I completed a CPR course last week at work. So yeah, that's healthcare in the United States, right? This one is actually from Twitter. It says, I'm not a good dancer. Someone said that the first dance at my wedding looked like my husband was trying to move a fridge. Damn, girl. I think these might be funny. I don't know. Let's see. My 11-year-old grandson asked me what year I was born. I told him in 1943. He replied, come on, really? I was playing with my four-year-old grandson in his backyard when some young friends of his approached the fence. My grandson, showing great maturity, introduced me to them. This is my grandpa, he told them. His name is Grandpa. It's so true. I called my granny and pawpaw for like basically forever. Rest in peace. We were all taking turns telling riddles when my daughter-in-law said, what has ears but can't hear? I was about to say corn, but my granddaughter beat me to the punch, yelling, Grandma! Alright, let's do All in a Day's Work, page 34. Sorry, I hope that table isn't too loud. Okay, so saving for a new car on a teacher's salary takes a long time, so in the meantime I borrowed a beater from a friend. The paint was peeling, and the body was so dented that its dents had dents, and yet it ran. One day I left the school to find a police officer and a woman examining my car. What's going on? I asked. I saw this woman hit your car, said the officer, but I can't figure out where. You gotta match the paint, buddy. Alright, so, co-worker on the phone. For a turtle? No, ma'am. We only have those for cats and dogs. I've never heard of that. But if they exist, we don't carry them. I'm a cashier. I'm not allowed to make those kinds of decisions. Okay, you're welcome. Hangs up phone. Me. Did she want a pet carrier for a turtle? Coworker. Yeah. And when I told her that we don't have them, she asked if we would carry them if she invented one. Oh. A man walked into our clothing store with a garment bag and said he wanted to return a suit that had been bought 10 days earlier. I took the gray pin striped suit out of the bag. It didn't show signs of wear, but it did seem dirty, as though whoever had worn it had rolled around in a flower bed. Did you purchase the suit for yourself? I asked. No, he said. A manager in my company purchased it. He gave me a card for a funeral home. My eyes widened as I conjured up all the possible purposes for which this grimy-looking suit could have been purchased. I told the man that we couldn't give him a refund, but it's only been worn once, he said. My son-in-law's favorite magazine has deep roots in the South. When his son asked if it had any ads for guns, my daughter joked, Of Of course, it's a redneck periodical that prompted her daughter to add, "It's the Y'all Street Journal." Yeah, don't rest in peace. You know who I'm talking about. Workers took to Reddit to reveal some of the bizarre moments that keep work interesting. A client called livid. "You guys are a terrible company that can't even build a calendar app right," he yelled. "I tried to make a booking for February 30th and I couldn't even find it. Tell me, how do I make a booking for February 30th if the calendar only displays till February 28th? Every single day at work, I answer my phone. Dave speaking. And every single day, someone replies, 'Hi, can I speak to Dave?' A coworker once asked me, 'Don't you think you're being inconsiderate being so tall?' Yeah, that's all in a day's work. Yeah. So this is also from Twitter. It says, "I used to work at a call center, and the substitutes people use when they don't know the phonetic alphabet are hilarious." One man said, "C as in Czechoslovakia." So every time I look at the camera, I'm blinded by the flash. So like when I look back at the page, it's very difficult for me to like refocus on the words because there's like floaties from the bright light. So if you see me kind of like doing this stuff, it's because of the flash. Sorry. All right, so let me see. I don't really want to do like the humor and uniform ones, but I'll check it out. It might be okay. It just sounds boring. I don't want to read about cops. Alright, humor in uniform. My job in the aerospace industry is often difficult to explain. Once, when chatting with a few guys, I was asked what I did for a living. Rather than get into the minutia, I simply replied, "Defense contractor." The man nodded knowingly, and then one asked, "So, what do you put up mainly?" "Chain link." On the wall, behind the counter where we issued parachutes to the aircrew, I replaced this sign: "All parachutes packed here come with a lifetime warranty. If one doesn't work, just bring it back and we'll give you another one, no questions asked." I bet you they never had to fulfill that warranty, right? August is lousy military joke month. Okay, we made that up. We'll start it off with these groaners. My friend asked why I would not tell him my military rank. I told him it's private. How do you play Air Force bingo? A-10, B-52, F-16. Lame. What did the Air Force dentist's license top plate? Wait. What did the Air Force dentist's license plate read? Top gum. That's pretty good. I'm about to have to get a bottle of water. I was assigned to the Water Survival Unit at Naval Air Station, Pensacola. Our mission was to teach student naval aviators the skills to survive should they find themselves in the water. In typical military fashion, there were forms for everything we did, and they had to be delivered to the NCO's office, where the in and out baskets on the desk were labeled inhale and exhale. Alright, so that does it for that book. I might come back later and see if, what it said about the breakthrough thing. But, let me see if I can find, this other thing. Yeah, here we go. Check it out. I got GB's toast. Sorry. these little cheapy toasts. It's like they're just the right size and thickness. I kind of wish I could eat it, but I don't think you want to hear me choking on microphone. That would be bad. Yeah, I've since made my desk look dirty from scratching it. It actually peels off the pieces or the layer of it. Hopefully that's not too loud. Alright, let's see, what this book has in it. Okay, so we've got Laughter the Best Medicine, page 52. Oh, Jesus. Okay. A baseball scout discovered a remarkable prospect. A horse who could hit like Los Angeles Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani. The scout arranged for a tryout with the Dodgers. Up at bat, the horse slammed the first pitch against the wall in left field and stood at the plate admiring it. "Run," the manager screamed. "Run." The horse yelled back irritably, "If I could run, I'd be in the Kentucky Derby." I joined Alice on a tour to Alaska to see the northern lights. While everyone marveled at the colors, she kept sighing and checking her watch. I guess it was just the aurora boring Alice. The world's worst actor is on stage playing Hamlet. Sorry. The world's worst actor is on stage playing Hamlet. He is so bad that the audience begins to boo. The actor stops, steps down stage, and says, "Look, folks, I'm just an actor. I didn't write this junk." That's pretty great. I appreciate the honesty. Alright, so I'm going to take a break and go grab some water. You can look at my computer in the background. It's pretty. A little bit of mukbang for y'all. Not sure if you like that. I'm not too keen on it myself. Mukbang just ain't my jam. Joe didn't feel well enough to take vacation in Florida, but his wife insisted. "It'll make you feel more alive," she said. So they went. Joe lay on the beach in the broiling sun for a week and finally gave up the ghost. At the wake back in Brooklyn, a cousin looked in the casket and remarked, "What a great tan Joe has." "Oh yes," his wife replied. "That Florida trip did him a world of good." I've been described as an old soul. I think that's just a polite way of saying depressed. Okay. A guy walks into a shoe store. After trying on a pair, he complains, "They're a bit tight." The clerk says, "Try pulling the tongue out." "Nath, this feels a bit tight." Nora, a professional photographer, brings choice of camera. Nora responds, "Thank you, Liz. Oh, and the meal was delicious. You must have great pots." That's great. So on the front of this, it says how nature heals us. And on these pages here, it says how nature heals us, or how nature heals. And then it's got this really cool picture of this woman in the woods. I really love trees. I hope you do too. Alright, so let me go back and see. Life in these United States, page 20. It was while modeling my new blue jeans for my husband that I saw just how baggy they were on me. "Oh great," I muttered. "I bought the wrong size." My husband, who has a knack for seeing the bright side of things, said, "Don't worry, sweetheart, they'll fit you soon." He's probably sleeping in the doghouse. I went to a deli to buy just enough ham for a sandwich, so I asked the man at the counter for a third of a pound. "You can't get a third of a pound," the man snapped. "The minimum order is a quarter of a pound." I froze. Fortunately, a woman who was in the line behind me intervened. "He wants a quarter of a pound and a little bit more," she said. "Well, why didn't you say so?" the deli man growled. Yeah, that is life in these United States. People are pretty dumb. No offense to my viewers if you're watching this and you didn't get that joke, but I hope you did. Not every light shines brightly. Here are some of the dimmer bulbs some Redditors have encountered. An old ex excused his clashing outfit by explaining he wasn't a fascist. When I asked what he meant, he said, someone who's into fashion. A coworker said that he didn't need to do cardio because he drank coffee and energy drinks and they made his heart beat faster, and that's all the cardio he needed. Rest in peace to that guy. Sorry, my cats are being mischievous and making loud noises. My aunt insisted that the Dutch are from Denmark. When I told her the Dutch come from the Netherlands, she said, "No, sweetie, those are Neanderthals." Hate when my husband gives me some crazy directions like, "I'm in the southwest corner. It's a Costco parking lot. I have no idea where I even am, let alone what you mean by south or west." Yeah, dude, like, why use cardinal directions, bruh? Be like, "I'm on the back row, left of the exit from the grocery store." Oh, hi, Tabal. Hi, Tabal. Hi. That's my kitty. What you doing? Are you checking out to see what I'm doing? At a workshop on dog temperament, the instructor noted that a test for a canine's disposition was for an owner to fall down and act hurt. A dog with poor temperament would try to bite the person, whereas a good dog would lick its owner's face or show concern. Once, while eating pizza in the living room, I tried out this theory on my two dogs. I stood up, clutched my heart, let out a scream, and collapsed on the floor. The dogs looked at me, glanced at each other, and raced to the coffee table for my pizza. I mean, that was your first mistake by having food out. You gotta do it with no food, then see how they react. This section is called "When Kids Confront the Inevitable." It was a sad day when our cat died. With great solemnity, my 3-year-old we said a few words, I looked down at her, expected to see tears in her eyes. Instead, she said excitedly, "Now let's go bury the dog." My coworker was at his grandmother's funeral when his 5-year-old son turned to him and whispered, "When does she turn into a skeleton?" When my niece Jane was 4, her grandfather called. After chatting a while, he told her to tell her father that Grandpa is on the phone. Jane replied, "Okay," then paused and asked, "Which Grandpa are you? The one that just died or the other one?" Oh. Someone asked if my niece was my sister, and the look of pleasure on my 40-year-old face was matched only by the look of horror on her teenage face. I like the crinkly sounds. Alright, let's do humor in uniform, page 40. Before our grandson entered Marine Corps basic training, my husband, who had been in the Air Force, was prepping him for all the yelling he was about to encounter from the drill instructors. Our grandson didn't seem all that bothered by the prospect. "The way I figure it," he said, "they're being paid to yell at me, and I'm being paid to be yelled at, so everyone's happy." Sure. Who knew? Joseph Madison Crowe was the last war chief of the Crew Nation. He completed the 4 requirements to become a war chief while he was a scout for the Army in Europe during World War II. The requirements include dodge or strike the first enemy fallen, whether alive or dead, wrestle a weapon away from an enemy warrior, enter an enemy camp at night and steal a horse, command a war party successfully. Okay. It was my first day at ROTC summer camp at Fort Riley in Kansas, and I was eager to please. We were gathered in our barracks for orientation when one sergeant called out, "Who here is studying math?" I was minoring in math at college, so I shot my hand up. The NCO pointed at me. "Good. You start recording the serial numbers of all the rifles we're issuing today." That was the last time I raised my hand. Who's studying math to just write numbers down? That's no. Freaking military, man. Yeah, I kinda don't like the humor uniform ones. They're not that great. All in a day's work, page 32. Yo necesito agua. For 35 years, my friend Frank put in long hours as a teacher and a school administrator. So after he retired, I was curious about the way his life had changed. "A man of few words," Frank replied. "Every morning I get up with nothing to do, and at night I go to bed with it half done." My Spanish friend is a big deal in the opera world. Years ago, he flew into Chicago and planned to attend a show that evening, but he wasn't sure he would make it. So after getting off the plane, he and his partner started running through the terminal, where they were stopped by a security guard. My flustered friend shouted in a thick Spanish accent, "I'm going to see opera." The guard sprang into action, quickly escorting him through immigration and customs, then outside to a cab. His partner, also Spanish but more familiar with America, later explained to his friend that the guard thought you were going to be appearing on Oprah. "Why are there no bring your friend to work days so that they can can see you have a serious job and do serious things for a living. Yeah, I would love to do that, but I actually, it's in my contract that I can't tell people where I work, so. Admit it, you've come up with a lame excuse or two in order to miss work. Turns out that employees have been laying it on thick for thousands of years. A recently discovered 3,200-year-old Egyptian tablet displayed in the venerable British Museum shows work, attendance, and absences, as well as the excuses ancient Egyptians gave for skipping a workday. Some seemed very much of their time. For example, one man missed work because he was mummifying his mother. Wow. Others were stung by a scorpion. Fair. Collecting stones for the scribe. And busy giving an offering to the god. Alright. Other excuses were more relatable to the modern worker, including brewing beer and wife had her period. I kind of doubt that last one was on an Egyptian tablet, but hey, if it was, that's awesome. Not every name is a Tom, Dick, or Harry, or even a Jennifer, Destiny, or Emily. When I worked at a hospital, I had one patient named Crystal Meth. Crystal with a K. And another named ABCDE, pronounced Obsidi. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see that. So this is about warning labels on products. So the product is Nitol sleeping pills. Label may cause drowsiness. Well, no shot. Product chainsaw. Do not hold the wrong end of a chainsaw. Can you imagine holding the chain and then starting it? Oh my god. Product jet ski. Label never use a lit match or open flame to check fuel level. Product hair dryer. Label do not use while sleeping. Product blowtorch gas bottle. Label contents may catch fire. Product sunshades for car dashboards. Label do not drive with a sun shield in place. Oh god dang. Products eggs. Label this product may contain eggs. I mean, you could just have all empty shells, I guess. I don't know. Product letter opener. Label safety goggles recommended. Wow. I don't want to achieve immortality through my work. I want to achieve it through not dying. That was from Woody Allen. Okay, I think that's everything for this one. And Tabal came back to say hello. Both my cats are named after Star Trek characters, Tabal and Lucara. Tabal is from Starship Enterprise, and I don't know if Lucara is like an actual character, but I Googled Star Trek female names, and Lucara is the name of Kales's wife. Kales is the warrior goddess of the Klingon species. So I thought that was really cool. Tabal was, I believe, what do you call that? Oh dang it, I'm drawing a blank. They have the pointy ears. You know those people. The ones who do not show emotion, which is actually really funny because she shows way more emotion than my other cat. Okay, so I think that about wraps it up. I don't have anything else for this video, but I do have some other items for some more videos, but I have to pace myself, okay? So that's all you get for today. So this is Tish's Tingles, and if I didn't say that earlier,